What is up, Cowboys Nation? It's getting about that time. Your boy Mike Tag Kelly K9 is in the house doing our thing, getting you ready for some football, but always some Cowboys talk. So as we get rolling, make sure you guys hit that like, subscribe, share. I think we got the phones figured out. I think. So we're going to let you guys, as we get rolling, once we get rolling in, let you guys kind of test it out, make sure it's working right. We're going to get this thing going. But Kelly, I was telling Kelly's story, I just got home a few hours ago, took a little power nap to get ready for the show. Guess got to run long. Got to make sure I got the energy. And I wake up and, I get a little alert, look it up. And man, blame it on the rain, little Milli Vanilli, old school. And I was embarrassed to say I did see them in concert back in 1980. A little embarrassed by that now, but it was cool back then. Young MC opened for him. But, you did the video with the Cowboys, and then I'm playing catch up. And this thing reared its ugly head and all about these tours at the facility. So you catch me up while I'm kind of waking up, and then I'll chime in because I've been on a bunch of these tours. I got my own opinions, but I definitely want to hear yours and you guys in the chat if you've guys been on these tours. I don't know what the controversy is about, but what say you, Kelly? How's it going?
It's going good, man, and good to be talking some football on a Wednesday night, some Cowboys football. It'd be nice if we were talking about some more positive things within Cowboys Nation, but instead it seems like we're talking about some. It kind of seems like a waste of breath, to be honest with you. Right now, there's this whole thing. It was RJ Ochoa, I believe, that wrote the article. Came out and it was basically about a bunch of the players. There were several players. I think Dorrance Armstrong was one of them.
Calvin Joseph,
Tony Pollard, Kelvin Joseph, basically players that were talking about the distractions in Dallas. And one of them is the fan tours that get done through the Star. And honestly, I think it's a bunch of nothing. None of these guys that left are guys that we're looking at and are having like significant career defining years after they left the Cowboys. I mean, Dalton Schultz has dropped off significantly. That dude's not even a top 25 tight end. You've got Tony Pollard, who, not doing too bad, but he's about the same as he was last year. Look at it, he's about 400 yards this year. He had 380 at this point last year. He is a borderline number one running back. I'd say he's more of a backup in my opinion. So you got a backup running back, and then you got a Dorrance Armstrong, who's basically a role player. He's not anybody that's going to blow anybody off the map. So I think, a lot of these guys, they're saying things because they're in new surroundings. What are you supposed to say? That you miss Dallas? I've yet to see any Hall of Fame. This is what I was kind of getting into with some people on Twitter. I haven't seen any Hall of Fame guys go out and bag on Dallas. Somebody had brought up DeMarcus Ware, and I said, you know what? Find me a negative quote DeMarcus Ware has ever said about Dallas. What he talked about was that Denver was different than Dallas, because he said in Dallas it was more formal. And if anything, that's saying more formal is more of a structured type scenario. But he said when he went to Denver, it was a lot of young guys, Von Miller, there was a lot of young guys in that building, and they were, playing pool, cards, they were going out, things like that. He talked about the differences between Dallas and Denver, but never in a negative light. So I've yet to see a big name, big guy player leave the Cowboys and just trash the Cowboys and say that there was all these distractions. I think it's a bunch of nonsense. I think it's just right now, Cowboys Nation is upset. Cowboys Nation they're looking for answers right now. And to think about it, we're 3-3, but look, people are looking at it and they're thinking that right now the outcome of this Cowboys team in the future looks a little bleak for this season. So people are looking to point fingers. They're looking to find any excuse to blame. Why are we the way that we are? When in reality, what it is our GM failed us. We didn't add any significant talent at the areas of weaknesses that we knew were problem areas, and we're seeing the consequences of those actions. And in my opinion, it's nothing more than that.
Yeah, and I've probably done 6 of these tours throughout my time going to Dallas games up at and visiting Frisco. I don't see what all these people are talking about. You can't get near the players. you don't have your cameras out. There's only certain spots you can take pictures. You don't go near their locker room. If they're out on the field, you're not allowed down on the field. You basically are looking from the glass from the top. So I don't really get it. Other teams around the league do tours and they do all this kind of stuff. It's all to do about nothing. I mean, it's just a waste of time. And then you got players, and we can't fact check everybody, but Fowler came out and said, I never said that. Kelvin Joseph came out and said something. I don't know if he said he didn't say it or he said they're just trying to, call it with him or whatever. And other players have come out. Now, DiNucci has come out and said, there, people walking by. But, I mean, you guys are professionals. I'm getting tired of the players that do say it. You guys are high-paid professional athletes. If me walking by you in the hallway, you don't know if I'm an employee or not, or a group of people walking by for 2 seconds is going to ruin your focus and ruin your day. And if I have to hear the freaking word fundamentals one more time with this team, I mean, you got bigger problems. And maybe they're just, and you just you're the type of person that looks for excuses. And I'm not, I don't roll with them. I mean, you got a job to do. You know what you got to get done. I've never heard Dak Prescott say it like you said. I've never heard CeeDee Lamb say it. I never heard Des Bryant say it. I've never heard any of these, the high-profile guys that, the maybe they're not Hall of Famers, but all pro guys. I've never heard them say anything about the tours being a big distraction. We got a lot of big distractions. Those are not on that list, in my opinion.
No, I agree. I mean, and I think Jordan Lewis came out and said something about it today. He's like, look, this is the way Jerry kind of runs things. And it is what it is. But it wasn't anything negative. He said, I don't think it's a distraction. We still come to work, still do our jobs. We got to perform on the field on Sundays.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So I'm with you. I think it's all bullshit. We'd love to get your guys' opinion. So we had a little issue, and we're going to get into the San Francisco game, but we had a little issue with our phone system. So I'm going to try it again because we, want to give you opportunity. So we need someone to be the guinea pig to call in. I had to get a new phone number to be able to call in and then see if we can get this thing working. We did test it before the show, and it worked well. So any of you guys that want to call in, you're welcome to call in the show. Share your opinion either on this or if you've got opinions on the Cowboys in general. But, I don't want to spend a ton of time on the tour thing because I just think it's all to do about nothing. But we do have this at hand, and that is these San Francisco 49ers. We're coming off a bye week. They got a lot of injuries. And we got a lot of injuries, and we'll get into some of these injuries. But what is your first thoughts when you see this game on the calendar? And we can look back a little bit. We're 3-3, disappointing. And I posed this on Monday night. Let me take a step back because I want to catch up with my man Kelly and you guys in the chat. I said it last night or Monday night. It's not necessarily that we're 3-3. It's how we're 3-3. I think a lot of people, if you looked at the first 6 games, they probably had the Cowboys 4-2, 3-3. Some have had them 2-4. They had a rough start to the beginning of the season, knowing some of the challenges that we might have. But it's how they lost. They lost to the Lions 42-35. Would you have been as animated as you were in your post-game video that went viral?
No, I wouldn't. And that's the thing. It's how we've been losing. It's because it's the effort on the field. It's that we look like we quit. And that's what it looks like. It looked like they just gave up. And there's, you've got Mike McCarthy talking about fundamentals because you've got guys that aren't tackling out there. You've got guys that are arm tackling. You've got guys that are, a Trayvon Diggs. Let's be honest. There was at least 1 or 2 plays where he didn't want no parts of tackling those running backs from Detroit. And it's inexcusable. You got a job to do. Whether you're getting your ass whooped or not, you got to be putting effort on the field. You can't just give up and throw in the white towel. And I just, it's looked like you said, it's not the record. It's how we've gotten to the point of having this 3-3 record and a couple of the bad losses that we've really taken. I've addressed this comment a couple of times today.
I was going to ask you about that.
I get where some of the fan base is saying they want to lose to get a higher pick because they're like, hey, listen, if we're not going to the Super Bowl, if we're not going to the playoffs this year, if that's where we're trending, I'd rather lose a lot of games and get a higher pick. I understand that logic. I just can't get behind it. I hate losing. I hate being an embarrassment. I hate going into work on Monday morning and getting shit. People know how big a Cowboys fan I am. So I'm getting shit from every damn fan base out there. I hate losing. I really do. And more than losing, I hate losing in the fashion that we've lost in. Because like you said, I mean, that also gives you the feeling of the negativity of where we feel right now. And I think where the fan base as a whole feels is because of the fact that we look like an absolute joke of a team right now. And I know people are saying, oh, you know what? But Cowboys, they're 3-3. You guys ain't doing that bad. So, okay, we're 3-3, but one, if you would have told me at this point that we would be 3-3, I'd have thought no. I thought we were going to at least be 4-2. At this point. But it's not about the 3-3. It's how bad we've looked and how it's like I don't think that these issues improve unless you make a significant addition to this team or a significant additions, multiple. And that's not going to happen. Jerry Jones basically said, we're out on the trade deadline. We're not going to make any additions. We like the guys we got. We're looking from within. And I don't think the answers are within. So it's one of those kind of situations where it feels as a fan at this 3-3, it feels like it's a lot worse than 3-3. It actually feels like, we could be 1-5, you know what I mean? And we look at this next 5 games that we got. And, Fox retweeted it. What's the Cowboys record going to be after the next 5? There's been talk about this next 5 because it's a tough stretch. It is. It's a tough stretch. We're playing against contenders. San Francisco may or may not be one of those contenders sitting at 3-4. I don't think many would have thought through the first 7. You'd think San Fran would be sitting at 3-4, but here they are at 3-4, riddled with injuries. Cowboys are sitting at 3-3, also riddled with injuries. So, It's an interesting spot we find ourselves in going into play San Francisco.
Yeah, and I think we've got a caller. I think we got. Is this my man? Our man, Cuts by Jones? Is he checking in on us?
Hey, what's cracking, homie?
What's cracking?
Look at this. We got the phones working, and we got our guinea pig Cuts. Appreciate you calling in. More importantly, we want to make sure the shit's working. But first of all, you are getting a lot of run. And I told you, anything you do with the U is going to get a lot of run. That Sean Taylor piece that you finished up is absolutely gorgeous. People are going crazy. Canes, I call them Canes Nation, but, the Miami Hurricanes down in South Florida, I mean, thousands and thousands of people have been looking at it. So this Canes thing's going to blow up for you, man. And we're going to get this thing rolling. But how you doing?
Oh, man, I greatly appreciate all that, man. I'm glad I was able to get that done for you. No, man, I'm doing good. 2 things. First, I just want to be a guinea pig and make sure that your phone lines will work.
We appreciate the help there.
I've got my boys. No, for real though. I got a question though. I know we've been to a couple of home games and everything, and things have been looking crazy. What's the next home game y'all feel comfortable going to, knowing that we could walk out with a win instead of our heads down? Because we're all together there last time, and man, I don't want to get that feeling again, man. Shit, man, that shit sucks, homies.
Yeah,
I'll let you answer, and I can tell you the next 2 home games are Philly and Texans. I know that.
Honestly, it's
I'll let y'all go. No, hang up.
All right. See you, Cuts.
All right. Well, honestly, for me, as crazy as it sounds, because I know I've talked about the fact that I think that Philly is ultimately a better team than us right now. Because they've got some talented players on offense, and they're managing to do things on defense. Although their last 2 games have been less than impressive opponents, Cleveland and New York Giants. We both Cowboys have beat both those teams. I really want to see the Eagles do it against some,
the Bengals. I think they play the Bengals this week. This would be interesting because the Bengals have weapons, and I think when you saw the Browns, I mean, I know it's coulda, woulda, shoulda, but the Browns easily could have beat them. I mean, they played like shit against them.
Yeah,
they did look good against the Giants, and Barkley, I think, he had something to prove, and he definitely proved it again.
I mean, I would definitely say that I think that we can beat the Eagles at home just because Dak Prescott seems to play really well against Philadelphia. He's familiar with their defense. He's just familiar with them, period. But, I mean, obviously, if I was going to say the next game that I felt good about, it's going to be the Giants game because we play the Giants at home in, what is that, a couple more games?
Thanksgiving. Yeah.
Is it Thanksgiving? So,
Yeah.
I mean, as far as a home game that I would feel good, like, hey, we got this in the bag, it's going to be the Giants game because, I mean, we watched the Giants. And, I mean, even with the Cowboys having the issues that they've had, they're still a better team than New York. They're not going to lose to the Giants and not at home. They've already beat them on the road. And me and, I know I joke about it, but it's not really a joke because it's true. So there's, the three things that says there's death, there's taxes, and the Cowboys whooping the New York Giants asses. And that's proven to be the case since 2017. I mean, we pretty much we own these dudes. So, yeah, I mean, if I had to pick a game, that would be the game. But at the same time, I would also say that I do feel like that Philadelphia coming to Dallas, I think that that's the game that the Cowboys could win just because historically they've played well against Philly at home.
Yeah, I mean, if I were going to pick a game, the next one, I would say the Cowboys beating Philly at home. I just think, like all the points you said, I don't know if Philly's having a lot of problems just as much as we are. Theirs is more internal, not really health-wise or talent. It's really more internal problems that they're having. And I don't know. I think internal problems are harder to fix than talent or injuries for some reason. But and they're familiar. I think that's going to be the one. San Francisco on the road. We got Atlanta on the road. So by Philly, we don't have another home game for another 2 weeks. So we should be pretty healthy by then. We should get a lot of our guys back because I don't know if we're going to have Parsons back this week. We'll get into that. But they better beat the Texans because your boy's going to that game. So I am not going to sit and watch us get our ass whooped again. Now, the only bright side is I am going to see Mike Tyson and Jake Paul fight. That's really the reason we're going to that game. Kind of worked it around that trip. So, but yeah, they better beat the Texans. But I think they can beat Philly too. So, but
yeah. I mean, and when it comes, honestly, for me, man, Mike, I mean, unless we start getting some guys healthy and I see some things, really change. What's most disturbing for me is that most of these injuries we got right now are on the defensive side of the ball, but the offense is what's struggling. I mean, the offense struggled mightily against, and Detroit, their defense, they're not bad, but they're about middle of the pack. They don't have like this top 5 defense. They don't, there was many people that said and thought, including myself, that Dak Prescott would move the ball through the air against this Detroit defense, and he did not. I mean, he didn't. And we can blame the receivers and routes being run wrong and, play calling unoriginal, no motions, whatever we want to blame it on. Bottom line is, Dak Prescott's got to move the ball. He's got to get touchdowns when we get down into the red zone. That's a big problem for the Cowboys this season. And when I look at these next 5 games, I mean, I could see us going 1-4 over these next 5. I really could. I look at these, and if I'm being honest and keeping it, real, I think Philly ultimately, even with their issues, I think they're a better football team than us. Top to bottom, I think they're a better team. Their GM right now is looking at bringing in another damn wide receiver because they need to put up some more offense, right? But they've got Saquon Barkley. He's rushing for 150 damn yards a game. We don't have a running attack. So, I mean, I think Philadelphia is better than us. I think the Houston Texans are better than us. I think the Washington Commanders are better than us. And if San Francisco was not injured as bad as they are right now, I'd say they're better than us. And even with the injuries, they might still be better than us. So it's like I'm looking at all these teams that we're playing, the Falcons, and I'm going, who are we really better than? I don't have confidence in saying we're better than any one of those teams we're about to line up against over the next 5 weeks. So it is going to be – this will be a gut check. It's going to be a gut check for the Cowboys. We are either going to pull through this, and at the end of this 5-game streak, they're going to have some optimism within Cowboys Nation within this team, or we're going to completely fall apart, and the season's going to be pretty much down the drain at the end of these 5 games. Because if they go 1-5, 1-4 over these next 5, the season's over.
No, they gotta until they get fully healthy, they gotta hang around 500. And And I'll just say this: Brandon Cooks. The question was, Philly game is when he can return. Tank, I think, is going to be out longer with the foot injury. I think he's on IR, which would clear him right around then, but I don't expect him back. Parsons didn't practice today. Bland didn't practice today. Pretty sure Bland will be back for the game against San Francisco. Parsons, I would probably say it's 30% chance he's back. I still think high ankle. I think they're gonna. I just don't know if they're gonna. They may have him active, but I don't know if he's gonna play much. Maybe it might be situational, whatever they end up doing. But I'd say this, to your point, the offense has been as the defense has been inconsistent. The offense has been more, because even in the games that the Cowboys have won, the offense has been inconsistent. Take away the Pittsburgh game, where I think that was kind of the best the offense has played overall, but there was still some inconsistencies there. That's it. And if you look at the Cowboys and the 49ers, mirror image. I mean, the quarterbacks that were, you consider the top two quarterbacks in the conference, or at least, some of the top two quarterbacks in the conference, they're both struggling. I mean, I watched that game, the Niners last week. I mean, Purdy looked like shit. I mean, he was terrible. And Dak has not looked good. And we know the running game plays a part in it, right? If they don't fear your running game, they're just going to play back in coverage. And you lost Brandon Cooks. But I won't go as far to say, I'm not going to be one of these apologists that say, oh, well, Dak doesn't have he doesn't have weapons. Because he does. I mean, he's got one of the best receivers in the NFL. He's got one of the best tight ends in the NFL. Jalen Tolbert, he's all right. He's number 2, but I mean, you're not going to have number 1s all over the field. I mean, the quarterback has to elevate them too. And I think Dak Prescott can do that. I'm not knocking him, but he deserves some criticism. He's not playing his best football. I mean, we got to be honest with ourselves.
He's not
playing well. He needs to adjust his mindset, get the ball out quicker, do dump offs, take the money, take the yards you can get and have another down to go at it, not try to hold it too long and then force stuff in. You know what I'm saying? So there's plenty of blame to go around on the offense. Obviously, I think, McCarthy's got to feel the heat, the offensive coordinator, but I can only blame the coaches and stuff so much. I mean, at the end of the day, the players are out on the field. They can make the difference. You see them play different on the road than at home. That to me is mentality. That to me is their mindset. Where's their focus at? Because we could talk about, they're not, but they got 9 all pros, not Pro Bowlers. They're not 9 all pros on this team. Now granted, some injuries and this and that have taken some away, but this team is capable of doing it. And I look at the next 5 games, and I'm with you. Could I see them losing all 5? Sure. I mean, you can make that argument. Could I see them winning 3 of them? I can make that argument too, if you let me. I mean, that's where they're at, but there's no confidence. Like last year, I was like, boom, we got this team, we got that team. We're going to beat this one. We're going to beat that one. Here, you don't know what you're going to get. Are you going to get the Cowboys defense against a Pittsburgh Steelers team that blew out that other team? Or are you going to get, the Cowboys against the defense against the Lions? I mean, I don't know what the hell you're going to get. The offense, we haven't gotten any. There hasn't been a breakout game of this offense yet. And it better start happening soon, right?
Yeah, no, I agree, man. And you know what? The crazy thing, though, man, and the frustrating thing that I see is, obviously we know that this defense has some playmakers in the secondary, right? And I kind of thought, in my opinion, in the offseason, what I said I thought that the Cowboys should do in the draft and what I thought the Cowboys should, I thought we still needed a running back, but I thought that the Cowboys should really invest into this defense, right? Because I thought that we had a defense that was predicated off speed, turnovers, and some physicality. And we didn't really address the defense at all. We didn't really made any. We got Kendricks, but look at the Kansas City Chiefs and how they are right now. Did you watch that game against the 49ers? I mean, Patrick Mahomes had 154 yards, 2 interceptions, and 0 touchdowns, and they won the game by 10, 28-18. I mean, if Dak Prescott throws for 154 yards, 2 picks, and no touchdowns, we lose by 40.
Yeah. No, 100%. 100%.
I mean, it's insane to me that And like you said, I'm not trying to give Dak Prescott a pass. I think that he needs to play better too. But I think what you're saying too, I feel like right now, because of the defensive inefficiencies, I feel like Dak Prescott is unnecessarily pressing. I mean, the ball that he threw a couple weeks ago, the one that he threw to Ferguson, went right through Ferguson's hands. It was a downfield shot. He had a guy open. I can't remember if it was Turpin or if it was CD maybe, but he had a guy open for the first down. I do remember that. There was a guy open. Could have took the first down. Wasn't going to be a big play, but it would have been the first down. But he went for the home run play because we were down. We were trailing. And that's the thing is I feel like Dak Prescott is chasing points. He's trying to play hero ball, and that's just not his game. And it's not something that's going to go well for him, especially with the defense that is when the defense is going against us. They know what we have to do. They're like, look, these dudes ain't running the ball. They can't run the ball. They're going to throw the ball. We're going to get these dudes in. We're going to drop back in the secondary. We're going to put more guys back in the secondary, and we're just going to cover the receivers. And that's where Dak's got one. Our receivers have to be better in their route running. They got to get open. They have to get open. They have to run clean routes. And then Dak Prescott, like you said, got to get rid of the ball quick, and he's got to take what they're giving him. Like if it's there, if it's a 5-6 yard pass, take it. I don't give a damn if you dink and dunk your whole way down the field. I'd rather have that than the 3 and outs. I'd rather have that than the unnecessary interceptions. Like it's got to be at this point. It just has to be that we have to score touchdowns. We can't afford to have 3 and outs. We can't afford to stall out because on a third down, on a 3rd and 8, instead of throwing a 9-yard route, Dak Prescott wants to throw it deep down the field. We can't afford to do that right now. We're not a good enough team defensively to hold the fort down for and wait until our offense figures their shit out.
Yeah. And I talked again, just to rehash the struggles of the offense. It's the red zone, right? And I know, play calling needs to be better, but I mean, quarterback needs to be better too. You need to be better throwing interception. You don't turn the ball over. You just can't have. But it's the little things like the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, they got blown out by the Lions, so I'm not going to say that they were going to win. But just think about some of these games, and there's been a few of them. The Cowboys go down the field, settle for a field goal, get the ball, they go down and score. Now they're down 7-3. The Cowboys went right back down the field in the red zone. What do? Throw an interception. Lions go back and score. Now it could have been 7-6. It could have been 10-7. Now it's 14-3. That's a huge swing. And that's the problem with the Cowboys is you hate to use the word front runners, but if they're not in the front and they got to they fold. That's been a common theme with this team for a couple of years. We're not just talking about this year. I mean, we could go back to last year when the Bills and it was the Cardinals and the 49ers when they had to battle and it was they fall behind. They absolutely got steamrolled. And that's a mentality. That's a mentality that you thought would change. And you thought maybe Zimmer would have had more kind of, toughness, right? Because Quinn was more the buddy guy, rah-rah guy. Quinn was Zimmer's a little opposite. He's on the field. He's going to get in someone's ass, but I don't really see that. So that's been kind of disappointing for me. But more importantly, like you said, what did we get? Like everyone and their brother knew what we had issues at, and we did nothing to address it. And now we're paying for that. And it wasn't going out and signing Chris Jones for $200 million, or you needed blue collar. You mentioned the guys like a Calais Campbell. Yeah, he's older, but he's a veteran and he's consistent. He's a leader and he's from the U, so he's got some dog in him when he needs to. I know he's a nice guy.
And he's playing pretty well with the Dolphins this year.
Yeah, and he's with the he's with the Falcons, and now he's with the Dolphins.
They paid him $2 million. They paid him $2 million. Like we couldn't have paid him $2 million.
Yeah, and it's just other guys. Even like, all right, I'm not going to beat a dead horse. We know Jerry, and Jerry knows it every day. He hears it. He effed up on Derrick Henry.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, there were some other guys. There was J.K. Dobbins. There were a few other guys. Oh, I forgot to put my charger in. We're on the show solo before I power out. See, I was sleeping. I'll be right back.
This is what happens when you take a power nap before the show. I mean, it happens sometimes. You gotta charge the phone. But hey, at least we're up and running. But yeah, I told Mike. I said, listen, I made a tweet earlier today and I said, if people want to talk about this or that and when it comes to the offseason, what we could have done. But listen, I tell you this, man, Jerry Jones, it just didn't make the moves, man. Listen, I said, I talked about it. I said, look, if you would have signed Dak and CD, you had Derrick Henry got a 2-year, $8 million. You had Calais Campbell for $2 million. You had Tier Tart for $1.1 million. That would have been two big, beefy dudes up in the middle of that defensive line for $3 million. And then you could have went out and got Trent Brown. He's a swing tackle. He'll play the right or the left side. I mean, and he was $2 million. There was a lot of veteran guys that we could have added to this team and not spent a whole lot of money. I mean, between those guys right there, between those four guys right there, you're talking about $13 million for a year, $13 million combined, right? And I'm sitting there and I'm looking at that and I'm saying, could the Cowboys afford $13 million? Absolutely, we could have afforded it. Not only would they have saved themselves money by signing Dak Prescott sooner because there was other quarterbacks that jumped in front of him, they did the same thing with CeeDee Lamb. And other wide receivers jumped in front of him. So the price tag went up. So by the Cowboys waiting, they made Dak Prescott more expensive. They made CeeDee Lamb more expensive. And they keep trying to sit over here and come to us and tell us, well, we couldn't sign these guys. Well, we're not blind. We can look and see how much money we got on the salary cap right now. Because I think it's like over $20 million that they have available in cap room that they could have used this year. And the thing is, other teams get creative, and when these teams need playmakers, they go out and get them. The teams that want to contend, the teams that, I mean, you look at the Eagles and they're sitting there, they're looking at maybe possibly making a trade to bring in a wide receiver. You look at the Chiefs, they were down bad. They said, you know what, we're going to go out and get a DeAndre Hopkins. You look at the Bills. The Bills are a very competitive team this year. They said, you know what, we're not gonna stop right now. We're gonna go and get an Amari Cooper to add to our offense. He goes out running routes, gets a touchdown his first game there with the Buffalo Bills. You look at the teams around the league that were making moves. The Jets. I mean, I don't know if it's going to work out for them or not. You got a Devontae Adams that goes for a 2-win Raiders team to a 2-win Jet team. He's probably thinking, good goddamn, they could have traded me to somebody else. I'm not going to be on a contender. But still, the Jets are trying to do something because they realize, hey, we need a little bit more pop on offense. So let's do something. The Cowboys, it's like, hey, listen, we need something here. We need something here. We need something. Are we going to make any moves? And Jerry's like, we're not going to make any moves. We're looking within.
Yeah.
It just makes you feel really defeated as a fan because it's like they're waving the towel. It's like Jerry's waving the towel, but not waving the towel. And, somebody said it the other day. They said Jerry Jones is gaslighting. And he's gaslighting the fans. That's what he's doing. And it really does feel like that, man. It really does feel like Jerry's doing that. And at this point, as a fan, you just got to be kind of discouraged. And, it feels too early in the season to be looking forward to next year and the draft. But I mean, look at it, man. You got Cowboys fans and content creators that are already talking about, doing mock drafts and stuff right now at this point.
Some of them are putting them out there, and a lot of people know they're prepping for 2025. I mean, okay, let's say they are. What gives you any confidence that that's going to be any better? I mean, we've been seeing the same story for 29 years. I mean, what is going to give you any more hope? The hope that I have on this season, what I would say is I don't give up. I don't quit. That's not the way I am. Is they're young. And could they get better? Will they get better as the year goes on? I believe like a Guyton's going to be better. I think Carson, he's going to get better. I think, Leo Fowle's going to get better. Overshown is going to be better. And some of them are good right now. So getting better is even, that puts them into Pro Bowl and all pro level. So that's what you're banking on. And if you listen to McCarthy and you listen to him kind of talking, it doesn't seem like he's that surprised at their start. Obviously disappointed, but it's a process, right? And you can go back to a lot of different teams and we can go back and argue it, but you can go just as back as the Green Bay Packers of last year. Young team, took a lot of lumps. They were 2-5. They go on a run. They get hot late. They come into Dallas, embarrass the Cowboys, go to San Francisco, really had San Francisco beat, really should have beat San Francisco, coulda, woulda, should have, I know, but they end that season pretty damn good. They're feeling good. Young team, young receivers that you didn't say, oh, who the hell are these? They got no receivers. Now these receivers are paying dividends this year. They're 5-2. Everyone said when Jordan Love got hurt, what did we all say? Oh, they're screwed. They're going to lose every game. They didn't lose anything. I mean, they're right where they need to be in the thick of their a very tough division that they're in with the Lions and with the Vikings and Bears. So that's what I'm saying is I'm not throwing in the towel. I'm not going to sit here and just start doing mock drafts. I don't really know much about the draft anyway, so I'm just going to listen to the experts that we've got do it. As long as we get some Canes on this team, let's get some damn Canes on this team like I've been bitching about. We might be winning some Super Bowls because we were winning the Super Bowls when we had them. So, but that's the only hope that you have with this team, because what you're seeing today, not so good. You got to hope that you're seeing a progression, and that'll pay dividends as the season goes on. That's about it. That's all I got to sell you, man. I don't know if you're buying it.
I am buying it, and I will say this for Hossboss, as far as people calling Guyton a bust, I'm not calling him a bust, and I don't know. Maybe there are people that are calling him a bust. I wouldn't consider him a bust, but what I would say about Guyton is we are seeing for the first time in a long time, a first-round offensive lineman that the Cowboys drafted struggle a lot more than what we've seen in the past. I
would say this, Kelly, not to interrupt you. They showed it, and you could argue it, whatever. And I don't want to be a straight stats guy. Tyler Smith, penalties, this, that, same exact that Guyton's at this point. And Tyler Smith took off as the year went on. I'm just going to say that. So I'm not, but I know what you're saying.
He did. I think it's a combination, though. I think it's a combination of things that you've seen. I just feel like that, that Dak has actually, had there's been a few times where Guyton has just kind of gotten plowed through and almost gotten.
Anna, you're asking a rookie left tackle. You're asking a rookie left.
Yeah, that's step in and play like that immediately. But I think ultimately, when people look back at Tyler Smith and how he played, if you take, the penalties was an issue. That was a bit of an issue. But I think ultimately, what they're looking at is blocking and how he held his own against some of the more premier pass rushers. Whereas Guyton, there's a couple where it looked pretty bad. Again, I don't think he's a bust by any means, because again, we expected him to struggle. We talked about it in the going into the season. Talked about the fact that he was probably going to struggle. We talked about the fact that, he was a raw prospect. That's what they called him. They said he was a raw talent. So, a raw talent, you're going to see them have growing pains. Doesn't mean they're a bust. It just means that they're going to take some time coming to their own. So I've still got faith in Guyton coming along and taking his lumps. We expected that. Cooper Beebe, however, we got
like the one guy's not.
Hats off to that guy, because in my opinion, he's the best. He's the best offensive lineman this year. Honestly, he is. Zach Martin has been struggling big time. So you look at our offensive lineman right now. Cooper Beebe looks like the steal of the draft, coming in and playing solid as hell right now at center. So I'm glad that we got that guy right there, anchor in the center of that offensive line. But look, we've had offensive line troubles, which doesn't help when you can't run the ball. You can't run the ball. You can't pass block, can't run block. They're just right now, the Cowboys are just kind of in shambles, and they got to get this thing figured out. And, you got Mike McCarthy. He's talking about the fundamentals. I swear to God, if I hear that word one more time, I'll strangle somebody, because I shouldn't be hearing about this shit going in week 7. But
for an NFL, for a professional team, you don't think you'd be hearing fundamentals at this point. You think the fundamentals would be pretty. You think they'd be dialing in, new plays and designs and doing this and getting to the next levels of stuff. Fundamentals. When I think of fundamentals, I think running through the cone, doing some cone drills, catching some passes, that guy. Hopefully they're past that, but focusing on the task at hand. And we've got the San Francisco 49ers. Now, they are injury riddled like the Cowboys. So this is really a game of attrition. They're injured on the offense. We're injured on the defense. We might get some guys back. Obviously, Ayuk's gone. McCaffrey's definitely not going to be there. Debo was in the hospital with pneumonia. I'd be very surprised if he plays. Kittle, I think, will play, but he has some injuries, that he's dealing with, just like all of us. So I would just say this is Cowboys, Niners. The Niners have had our number. What do you think of this game? If Dallas were to go on the road and beat the 49ers, is it a hollow win? Is it a win that's going to make you feel pretty good? I mean, how do you feel about this game? So who needs it more? I mean, is this a must win? All these different things that go through heads. I'd love to get your guys in the chat, and I'd love to get your opinion, Kelly. Is like, when you're looking at this game, where's your whole head at with it? Because it's always used to be such a big game, and there were two Titans, and we got kind of bounced around a few times. But where's your head at now?
Well, when it comes to San Francisco, I mean, it's not going to make me feel any different about this team because I actually feel like the Cowboys got a decent chance at beating San Francisco, and maybe that's just me being overly optimistic because I understand we got injuries too. But I kind of feel good about this game for some reason. I'm not really sure why. I just got this feeling. I feel like all of Cowboys Nation is expecting us to lose. I feel everyone's expecting us to lose. I just feel like we might be able to do something here with how depleted San Francisco is because I feel like it's going to be one of those games that, that if you can capitalize off a turnover or two, you might be able to do something. But ultimately, I'm not going to – if they win this game, it doesn't change my opinion about this team. I think this is still a very flawed team. I think it's a team with a lot of problems. And ultimately, at the beginning of the season, I thought it was a 10-win team. Right now, my outcome for this team is 7 or 8 wins was what I'm saying, to be honest with you. And I just – until I see something that can change my outcome or my outlook on it, I can't really change that, what I've seen and what it's looked like when we have lost. It's just looked like, the deal where they have the thing and they say, pretenders and contenders. They've got contenders and pretenders. The Cowboys look so far off from the contenders.
Yes.
That it's just, it's hard to ignore that. You watch, even this Sunday, I'm watching the better teams out there. I'm watching the Minnesota and I'm watching Detroit and I'm watching, even the Texans and the Green Bay Packers game. And I'm just watching these teams and those are all playoff teams. And I'm thinking we're nowhere close to competing with those teams. Like we're not, call it what it is. It's weird that you can drop that far off from being a 12-win team last year to this year just looking so abysmal. But, look at it. You don't have Quinn in the house anymore. As much as we criticized him, as much as we talk shit about him, look at what he has done with Washington. I know I was sitting there like, run Quinn the hell out of here when after that Green Bay game, but maybe Quinn wanted to get himself run out so he could go get that head coaching job that he knew he wasn't going to get in Dallas. But look at what he's done with Washington. With an owner that told him, hey, we'll bring some guys in, we'll spend some money, that had some good draft capital. And let him go out and get him an offensive coordinator in Cliff Kingsbury and just the things he's been able to do. So it's just a night and day difference. This team from last year, man, it's just not anything. The weaknesses that we had last year seem like they're magnified by 10 this year. Run game last year struggled a little bit, but I'd take last year's run game over this year. Stopping the run last year was the problem. I'd take last year's defense over what this year's defenses look like so far. So just a sad thing to see right now, man. But beating the 49ers doesn't really give me any hope one way or another if we beat the Niners this Sunday.
Yeah. I think we got a caller. What's up, man?
Hey, fellas, Mike Tag, Kelly K9, it's Donovan. How y'all doing?
What's going on, man?
Good, man. How you feeling? Or what's on your mind? Are the Niners on your mind, or you got some Cowboys stuff on your mind before we get to that?
Oh, you know what? The Niners are on my mind, but I just to me at this point of the season, it just right now is just, hey, they wanted to go with younger players and they did what they did, so this is what you're gonna get right now, and we just have to play it out and see. But personally, to me, all of what's happening right now goes back to when they lost to Green Bay in the playoff game. And you can have your opinions about it, and it's cool. But for me, it was like, okay, they're saying for the last 3 years we went 12-5, 12-5, 12-5 when we lose in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, we really thought we had a team that was good enough that could win it all. And so when that didn't happen,
I think the fan base has to understand the domino effect from that. Now, the tactic that they wanted to use and saying, you know what, we're not gonna give nobody no extensions or nothing except for 2 players, and we going into this season. The whole coaching staff is on the last year of their deal, and that's what we wanted. And with that, they trying to create, like some kind of urgency. And now you can do that, but as both of you know, there can be backlash and things can't work, which is what we're seeing now with the injuries and things like that. But for me, going back to that last game, I kept saying, and I remember I called you, Mike, that night. I said, man, they getting ready to blow this up, man.
Yeah, no,
I
remember.
That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems like it, and the approach is what they're taking, and that's kind of, I agree 100% with what you're saying. So you got to let it play out. I just would ask you, looking at the team moving forward, what gives you any hope? If they beat the 49ers on the road, injury team of 49ers, injury Cowboy, does that give you a positive? Like, all right, maybe we're going the right direction, or it's like, they beat up 49ers team, who really gives a shit?
Well, I mean, as a longtime diehard Cowboy fan, you beat the 49ers, I don't give a damn what their record is, but I mean, look, they need a victory. So I mean, yeah, it's going to be good for this current team. They need a victory. So yeah, that would be good for this current team. But again, for me, I just feel the feeling is, hey, we trying to show the fan base we're getting ready to blow this up, man. And you just need to know that, and that's what we're getting ready to do. So hey, because like Kelly said, it was a couple guys that tried to sign, but for them it was like, hey, the guys that we bringing in, we're only gonna sign them to a 1-year deal. I don't know if either one of y'all know this, but it's 34 guys out of that 52-man roster, 35 of them that are all on the last year of their contract. So I mean, what does that tell you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. You know that, Kelly?
Including the head coach. No, that's an interesting stat right there. But I mean, including the head coach on last year's contract too. So yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, like I say, going forward, hey, can they get this passing game going? Can they protect that? Because I mean, and both of you, before the season started, talked about it. We knew it was going to be some growing pains with Cooper Beebe and Tyler Guyton. You just knew it was going to be that way. But what's really blowing my mind is the fact that they just can't run the football. And that I'm just trying to remember in my mind as a kid or something when they weren't able to run the football.
Troy Hambrick.
It's just really
Troy Hambrick. How old are you?
Yeah. Okay. You're right. You know what I'm saying? And it's just disheartening, man. It's just like, damn, they just cannot run the football.
Well, running the football that creates a mentality, right? I mean, that establishes, what we call establishing dominance, right? And we don't have that right now. And maybe Rico's the guy, maybe he's not. I mean, I don't know. Like, it's just so odd in the Lions game. Kelly, I don't know if your thoughts on it too is he got like a couple carries, but he ran. I mean, he was 5 yards a carry, but he only got like 3, and Zeke was getting the other ones, and then they just totally abandoned it. And the one thing I think you saw in the Lions game, they fell down, but they committed to the run. Now, granted, their running's a hell of a lot better than ours, but at least they committed. It's like we just blew it up and say, forget it. It's gone. But what happened to Rico? I mean, Kelly, were you as puzzled with that? Or,
I was, because it felt like he had a really good game against Pittsburgh, and it felt like we got something started there, maybe got something in a rhythm. And now it was going to be, okay, well, Rico Dowdle is going to be the guy that's going to get the bulk of the carries. And then they started out Zeke, and it felt like they were trying to feed Zeke and showcase him. And it's like, it just didn't make sense to me. Nothing they've done this year has made sense to me, though. I mean, so
Yeah.
That's kind of where we are right now. But I mean, when you look at some of the better teams in the league, when you look at some of the better teams in the league right now, though, and some of the teams that you would consider Super Bowl contenders, they're running the ball. It's Baltimore, it's Washington, it's Green Bay, it's Arizona. I don't know about Arizona and San Francisco. So, that San Francisco's kind of banged up, but Philadelphia, Tampa Bay, Pittsburgh, and Detroit. Those are your top teams right there in rushing. And those are teams that you would look at, and you'd look at least several of those within that group. I'd say Detroit and Baltimore and probably Green Bay as, teams that you would consider probably have a legit shot at the Super Bowl. And the Cowboys just, they can't really, I feel like they haven't committed to the run.
Yes.
Mike McCarthy keeps talking about they're going to do it, but they don't. And it's like, all right, the game plan is to let Dak sling it 40 times a game. And that just hasn't worked. It's not worked at any point in Dak Prescott's career. He's just not that quarterback that it's conducive to, because we don't have an offense that's really set up that way. Our offense has been predicated for the longest time off play action pass. And it works best, obviously, when you've got a run game that defenses respect. And right now we don't. So the play action pass ain't working. The run game ain't working. And you're seeing an offense that is struggling heavily because right now it's all on Dak Prescott. And if it ain't Dak Prescott carrying this offense, then we are in big trouble.
Yeah. No, 100% right. You got anything else on your mind, my man?
No, man, I just wanted to call in.
No, I appreciate
it. Man, just enjoy and love the show, and just looking forward to the day when I can really meet you guys face to face, man. DC for life. Be good.
Absolutely. Hope to see you out there soon, man. Take care, brother. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks for the call.
There you go. I love when people call in. I mean, that's what makes it fun. You get to talk to these guys, man. And again, just another, just thought about that, and it just comes to my mind. And I've been messaging Kevin Gogan. We've been talking back and forth, and I think you saw with Danny Corville, and passed away unexpectedly. I mean, he was battling cancer, but we thought he was doing better. But that's what I mean. At the end of the day, I mean, we all argue football and this and that, but at the end of the day, getting the opportunity to meet a lot of great people and get to know someone as great as Danny. I wish I would have got to get to know him a lot more and a lot longer. We had a lot of plans of going to a bunch of games and doing a lot of stuff. That's really what it's all about. So getting these calls and having you guys call in and talk to us or meeting us at the games, man. The Cowboys can get the shit beat out of them. It hurts my feelings and it rips my heart out, but that's the silver lining. Cuts and I were messaging each other a few days ago, and you think of the friendship like between me and you and Cuts and Shady and Mark. I mean, we would have never known each other had it not been for this, this drama of the Dallas Cowboys, this drug that kind of sucks us in all the time and rips our hearts out every year. But I'll take that. If I got to meet all you guys and everyone in the chat, man, I'll fall on the sword for you, man, and just, we'll make it happen. But just wanted to say that, though. Do appreciate when you guys call and interact. It's fun.
Yeah, I do. And I think I would say I just wanted to chime with something that Ultra said, because he said there's only 3 Super Bowl contenders. He said that the Chiefs, the Lions, and Baltimore. In my opinion, I would have to add in the Bills, and I would also probably add in the Green Bay Packers.
And Vikings. I mean, Vikings lost a tough game for this.
Yeah, and even probably the Vikings. But I mean, I'm watching the Packers. I know they've got 2 losses compared to the Vikings only got 1 of them. They got an impressive squad though, and defensively, offensively. I mean, Jordan Love, good young quarterback. I'd probably put the Bills, and I might put Minnesota in there too. I keep thinking that eventually they're going to fall off with Sam Darnold, but I don't know, man. It's one of those. I don't know. But what was interesting about those when we talk about playoff contenders, we talk about the Minnesota Vikings, is that I actually saw something today. I don't know how true it is, but that they were actually inquiring and calling the Rams about inquiring for Stafford. I don't know why they would do that when Sam Darnold's playing as good as he's playing. But there was an article on it today, and I ran across it, and it said that and it was from a legitimate source, in terms of it was like ESPN article that said that the Vikings have actually reached out to gauge interest if the Rams are interested in trading Stafford. Now, wouldn't that be interesting to see Stafford come back to the NFC North and be the quarterback of the Vikings? And would that trade make the Vikings Super Bowl contenders? Because that would be pretty interesting to me, seeing Stafford throwing the ball to Justin Jefferson, because it's an upgrade. It'd be an upgrade.
100%.
Instant upgrade. And I mean, I think that makes them even more respectable. They've got a great defense, and and they've got a pretty damn good offense to go with it. So the NFC North is an interesting race to watch this year, because I mean, all 4 of those teams got winning records right now. And
well, that's what I said on Monday is, the only way to the playoffs might be winning the division. Is if these other teams continue, especially that whole division could be in the playoffs the way they're playing.
They could, with 3 wildcard teams, the whole NFC North could be in the playoffs.
I mean, that would be great. Now I think things are going to settle down. They're going to settle down, and I think Washington's a nice story. I like, I've watched them, but we'll see when they play. They played a tough game and they lost a good game against Baltimore. I'm not going to dog them for it. Quarterback got hurt. Hopefully he's okay. Their defense hasn't been great. I mean, they get thrown on and stuff. So it'll be curious. Their schedule's favorable. So we'll see it. But they're the cream of the crop for the East right now, because like I said, I think Dallas has their own set of problems. We've kind of beat a dead horse on that. Philly has just so many internal problems within the organization. We'll see how they handle that. The Giants, I think we talked about, the Giants are the Giants. So I think the Giants are the one constant that we could always say in the NFC East. The Giants are always going to be the Giants. But just jumping back to the Niners, because I wanted to talk a little bit about the Niners before we jump out. So I asked you that question. So do you pump your chest out with this win? And we got the Niners. We finally, got over the hump and beat them, because we're always playing them in San Francisco. Or is this game going to carry an asterisk with you? I mean, what is your
I'm bumping my chest, and I'm gonna talk my shit if we beat San Francisco.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna not talk shit if we beat San. Look, we got injuries too. We got injuries. They got injuries. Say what they want. I mean, I would take their running back Jordan Mason off that team in a heartbeat over what we got on our team right now, because that dude looks like a legit running back. They look like they've got 2 legit running backs with CMC and Mason, obviously. So, look, if we beat San Francisco, I'm gonna talk shit. I can't ever forget the George Kittle, the whole "fuck Dallas" T-shirt thing last year. We got a rivalry going with San Francisco, and it's been a little one-sided lately. So
it's only rivalry if you win a couple. We got to win one, man. We're due.
That's right. So if we beat San Francisco, I mean, we've talked about it before in terms of rivalries. In terms of rivalries, everybody always talks about us in Philadelphia, but listen, I've said it. I know you said it. You talked about Pittsburgh being one of your top rivalries. San Francisco is one of the top rivalries for the Cowboys, and in my opinion, it's one of the biggest ones. It's one that I grew up knowing in the playoffs was Cowboys Niners in the 90s. I mean, I didn't get to watch much in the late 80s because I was still a little too young, but I did know the rivalry going there in the 90s. And that rivalry has been renewed here in the playoffs. Maybe not in the NFC Championship game like we've been used to seeing, but look, we played the Niners. What was it? Two times out of the last three playoff games. So I mean, and so that's a rivalry. We've been playing the Niners, and I want to get some get back.
Absolutely, 100%. Who do you think is the more desperate team for a win? I mean, both teams' backs against the wall. Which team needs this a hell of a lot more?
Cowboys. And the reason I say Cowboys right now is, one, because San Francisco has beaten, bullied, and bruised them up the last several times that we played them. But the Cowboys just got their ass waxed at home. I mean, absolutely beat. And for 2 weeks now, the Cowboys have been getting drugged on every major media outlet. They're talking about the Cowboys. They're calling the players soft. They're calling it, a finesse. They're calling it a poorly coached. I mean, look, if I know the players always talk about, we don't listen to the noise. We don't listen to, well, that's bullshit. You see them all over social media, clapping back at fans, retweeting articles, different things like that. They hear it. And I guarantee you, if Micah Parsons hears this team getting called soft, he's telling us, but he's like, man, dude, they're calling us soft. They hear it. They hear the noise. So if you as a man are getting called soft, in my opinion, that's one of the worst things that somebody can call you is soft. Yeah. If somebody calls you soft, that's just that, like, it might as well spit in my face. Call me soft. And these dudes have been getting soft for 2 weeks. Niners ain't getting called soft. Because the Niners, even despite their injuries, they're still coming out there. They're still playing. And they're playing with the physicality that we're used to seeing with the Niners. Cowboys just laid down and gave up, waved the white flag. So I think it's the Cowboys, man. I think they need a win for the morale of this team going forward.
Yeah, and I'll give my opinion, but we got our man Jeff calling in. What's up, Jeff?
Hey, Mike, what's going on? Kelly, how you guys doing?
What's going on, Jeff?
So how you feeling? Much, how you feeling about the game? Who needs this game more? The Cowboys or the 49ers this weekend?
I'll get it. One quick thing I just want to say, Mike, you're exactly right, though. I got to come down to Cowboys Cave week 3 for the tailgate, meet all you guys, and that is truly what it's all about. So, prayers up for Danny and his family.
Yeah,
but,
appreciate it.
Like you said, that's what it's all about. So just want to put that out there real quick. As far as Sunday, I mean, any win's a win. Right now, we need something to feel a little bit better about as a nation and as just regular fans. But the fact that it's the 49ers and the history that goes into that, we got to show some pride. I think we need to find our pride and check our egos at the door. And honestly, they need to get their heads on straight.
Well, I couldn't agree more. I mean, that's the biggest problem, and I'll get into the want, but the biggest problem with this team is the way they lost. Like I said before, I think all of us, and if you listen to me close, I said there's good. You don't get too high, don't get too low. It's going to be a roller coaster, and it's played out that way. But the part that really rubs me the wrong way is the way that they've lost, and they've gotten blown out of every game, and that just shows a team that doesn't have a lot of pride. Doesn't have because you're not supposed to get blown out in the NFL. I mean, there's a reason why very rarely do you ever see a point spread over 9 points in the NFL. It's always one score games, and the Cowboys have been blown out in all 3 of their losses. I know the Ravens, they showed a little fight to come back, but let's be honest, we were there week 3. Jeff, we hung out, we saw it. They got their ass whooped. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So that's just my thoughts on it. Kelly, any thoughts with you with Jeff?
No, I mean, like I think he's kind of just, I think that kind of echoes what I said just earlier about the fact that, it's for, if nothing else, it's kind of a pride thing, man. They're, after these poor showings past couple of weeks, man, they gotta do something, man. At some point you got to look yourself in the mirror and be like, all right, man, I'm tired of getting my ass whooped. And, and I feel like this Cowboys team is good enough. They're good enough to do it because, I mean, we talked about it all off season that we didn't feel like there was enough departures from the team that were going to make us this significantly worse, right? We didn't think we were going to be this bad and look this bad and have these kind of showings. But I mean, here we are. So it's like, wow, did we really get that much worse losing the guys that we lost? Because I don't really feel like that those guys, even if we had them on this team, would be that make us significantly better. But here we are, right? So is it the players? Is it the coaching? Is it the scheme? Yeah, everybody's wondering and asking those questions. We'll find out about it. We'll find out a lot about it, I guess, against the 49ers. If we go up against a beaten and bruised 49ers team that's missing several key offensive weapons and they just run the ball up and down the field on us, well, then maybe we were to steal a word of Denny Green. We are who we thought we were, right? I mean, so we're gonna find out when we take these guys on.
Yeah. Well, you could use that for your video.
Guys, I don't.
Go ahead, Jeff. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't want to see guys coming out there like making business decisions, trying not to tackle. Some of the stuff we saw with Diggs last week. That was a little disheartening. But when you see guys just giving up, no heart, no pride,
Yeah.
And, then they're like, don't call them off. But when they give up and just, you just don't see it. And you can, not only do you not see it, but us as fans, and you guys know what I'm talking about, you can feel it. You sense it.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
And it's that's where it is, man. But I think this is a game we need. And I think this is the game that's going to show us what they really are made of.
Oh,
and if they can pull this one out, it could give us a few feet forward for the next couple of weeks. Just take one game at a time, but we need this as a springboard. And if we come out and get our asses handed to us again, it's going to be a long rest of the year.
Yeah, no, I agree. If they come out and they go get blown out, I think obviously it's gonna just snowball and it's gonna get worse. They're gonna need to fight. I don't think this is as critical a must win as the San Francisco. The only reason I say it would be for us more than San Francisco is because I think San Francisco's division isn't that good. So they could fall to 3-5, and I think they'd be okay. I think if Dallas falls to 3-4, I think there could be some trouble things ahead of them, but I think they could maybe overcome it because they got a lot of divisional games left. But both teams need this game bad, and they're wounded. And it's going to come down to who wants it more. So it's going to be a dogfight, and the Cowboys better be ready to fight, because I guarantee you the 49ers defense is going to look to punch them in the mouth, because they say every time they've done it, the Cowboys have folded up, the offense have folded up. So it's going to be interesting. But Jeff, man, I appreciate you going to any more games this year, or what's your story?
Not at this point, but I'm still trying to piece some things together, but at this point, nothing's on the schedule yet.
Okay. Well, if things get rock bottom, we're going to the Carolina Panther game. God damn it. There's no way they'd lose that game. So I'll be there in Carolina. So if you make it out that way, we got a crew. Cuts is going to be out there. We got a crew out there. So, but
yeah, if I make it to any of them, that'll actually be the one I'm thinking.
All right.
So that's the one I've been trying to keep in the mind. So.
Yeah.
Looking at it, I'm just trying to piece a few things together with work and stuff.
All right. Well, keep me posted if we can help in any way, but we'll be out there. So if you make it, you better give me a holler. We'll be tailgating.
Definitely.
All right, man. Jeff, take care.
Yeah, I'll be there. If I'm there, I'll be with you guys. So you guys have a good night. Appreciate it.
Take care, brother.
All right, man. Have a good one.
Yeah, Jeff's a great guy. I mean, awesome.
Yeah,
but looking at the game, like what I said, is I think Cowboys mentally need this game more than the 49ers, but I think the 49ers with their injuries and stuff and falling to 3-5. I mean, that's why I said they both need it. They both need it. So this could change the trajectory of both of these teams. So they're going to have to show up, and the offense is going to have to carry the load. I mean, let's just be honest. The offense is going to have to carry the load. I know the 49ers offense has been hurt, and they're probably going to be without some guys, but we don't have a lot of confidence in this defense. So the offense, this is a game that Dak's going to have to put it on his shoulders and lead them to victory.
Yeah, no, and that's kind of why I said that I feel like this is more of a must-win for Dallas. I feel like, one, yes, the Niners and obviously what they've done to us over the past couple of years, but also when you look at the schedule moving forward, these next 4 games after the Niners, this is one of those things where you got to capitalize on the opportunity, right? You got a Niners defense, you got a Niners team that is banged up, right? So you're banged up, but you're playing another team that's banged up. You got to capitalize off that. You get your ass whooped by a Niners team that is at 75-80%, and they just wipe the damn field with you. How confident are you feeling going into these next 4 games against teams that are all above 500? All right now currently playoff teams, and at the top, or if not at the very top of their division, they're close to the top of their division. So I mean, if you can't beat the 3 and 4 Niners that are banged up, doesn't give you a whole lot of hope going forward in these next 4 games. So I think it's a confidence booster. I think it's one of those things where it's like, listen, you got to capitalize on your opportunities. When you get these opportunities, you capitalize on them, you grab them, seize them, make the most of them. Cowboys got to do that. They got to come out. They got to be physical. They got to find a way to win this game. And again, like I said, I feel like, and I've been very pessimistic about the Cowboys, lately. I've even went as far as to say I thought they go 1-4 over the stretch of this next 5. I feel like we win this game. And maybe if we win this game, maybe like Jeff said, maybe it is a springboard into an upwards trajectory for this Cowboys team that kind of gets some things turned around, start getting some people healthy, things start looking a little bit different. So, I mean, we'll find out though. I mean, we're going to wait all night for Sunday night again. And hopefully we don't have to wait some more, like a weather delay like we had in Pittsburgh. So.
Yeah, we don't want to do that. And give us your predictions on the game and let us know your thoughts. I mean, I would say I agree with you, Kelly. Looking at the next 4 games, we won't go 5. We know Washington's there, but we'll just stay with the 4. This is a critical one for the Cowboys because what I would say with the Cowboys is you've got the 49ers hurt. You need to take advantage of that even though you're hurt. Atlanta you have next. Now, Jimmy and I got into it a little bit on Monday. Atlanta doesn't scare me. Atlanta to me is a lot like Dallas mentally. They fold. So I think if Dallas can get some confidence, now you're going into Atlanta with a little pep in your step. You're feeling pretty good. You might steal one, and I would call it a steal. Anytime you get a win on the road, I call that a steal.
Yeah.
Now you're, for some strange thing, now you're like 5-3. Who the hell would have thunk it? And you got Philly coming in, a rival. And Houston's going to be a problem. I'm probably going to regret going to that game. I don't know. We'll see as long as Tyson wins and I get to see Mike Tyson, I'll be okay with it, I guess. But this game is critical because if they lose, they're not going to have a lot of confidence. And Atlanta's going to be, looking to, get some confidence back after that loss. And we'll see how they do this weekend. Now they're playing a Buccaneers team who's absolutely depleted. And that's why I think this NFL, it's a game of attrition. And the Cowboys got their injuries early. If they can weather that storm, that's what I'm saying. If they could stay after these four games, if they were to go 3-1 or 2-2 and they're hovering around 500, you're going to feel pretty good if the troops are coming back. I'm not going to throw the towel in. But if they go 1-3, it's going to be, I'm probably paying what's his name his $100 bet, and I'm trying to figure out how to do the draft with like everybody else. But I do think the Cowboys, the long story at the end of it, I think the Cowboys pull out a very close win.
Yeah.
I would say maybe 31-28, something like that. I think they'll.
Yeah, I got a little bit lower, man, just considering how dysfunctional the Cowboys offense has been, and same thing with the Niners. I actually changed I had the Cowboys losing last week. I was going to pick this game as a loss, and by a fairly wide margin. I actually think I said 49ers 42, Cowboys like 17. I'm going to go and I'm going to say Cowboys 24-20 in this game. I think it'll be a low-scoring game, but I do think the Cowboys are going to grind and find a way to win. Kind of seems crazy to say that right now with what we just came off watching with the Detroit Lions, but again, Cowboys team is not void of talent. They're just not. They still have the nucleus that went 12-5 last year still there. We've got some things we got to work through, things we got to figure out. It's up to the coaching staff. It's up to the players. What do you do when your back's against the wall? Do you come out swinging, or do you lay down and let somebody roll over you? I like to think that this team was not going to let somebody just roll all over them, but I guess we'll find out Sunday night. So hopefully they win, man. You know what I mean? I'm tired of watching this team get their ass kicked, and I'm tired of watching them. I don't like watching a team that looks like they quit.
I've never shut a game off, but I'd sure hate to shut a game off. But if I see him quitting, it's going to be hard not to change the channel, because you've seen it too much in some of these games and the blowouts. I think they need to be competitive. They need to match the intensity of the 49ers, because the 49ers are going to come out swinging. Shanahan is going to come out swinging. They're going to pull out all the stops. Sure. And I would say this. I would say if the 49ers were healthy, forget McCaffrey, because we knew he wouldn't play. If Ayuk and Debo and Kittle's doing good, would you give Cowboys even a chance in this one, or
no?
No, neither would I. All right, we're just making sure. So this is an opportunity. It's what we say. It's not who you play; it's when you play them, right? That's the most important thing. That's why when people look at schedules like, oh, well, we beat, I'll give Carl because he said it. Oh, we beat the Packers the first game, and so we're better than the Packers. Dude, Packers will run you up and down the field. They beat the Packers on a shitty-ass field opening day in Brazil, and their quarterback got hurt late in the game. The Packers are far and above the better team right now. I mean, that's just being real. And so are the Cowboys roster better than the 49ers, healthy to healthy? I would say no. But we got them hurt. Let's take advantage of it, and let's get out there and steal a victory and try and get some confidence back within this team. And more importantly, probably the fan base. Does the fan base need it more than the team? I don't know. Maybe they do.
Oh, yeah, fan base might need it more than the team. Good Lord, man. It's rough out there. It's rough out there in these Cowboys Nation streets.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But more importantly, the Dallas, your boy is heading down to Miami to watch McCain's. If they lose to Florida State, Kelly, the Cowboys cave is going to be handed over to you. You'll never see me on. You can have the hype videos. You can have my season ticket. I'll never show my face. I'll never show my face.
I don't think that's going to happen.
No, I don't think that's happening. I don't think they got the offense to do it. If their offense was better, I'd be a little worried because our defense is just driving me nuts. But I'm heading down. Uncle Cheech, we got the road crew. We got the whale go. We got Uncle Cheech. We got the presidential suite at the Hard Rock Casino. We're going down and we're going to watch Miami whoop some ass. So you may see some live videos. You may see us popping in and out, but it's going to be good. Who's Texas Tech have this weekend?
TCU.
TCU. How's that?
I don't know, man. We got our asses whooped last week by Baylor, and Baylor only had won 2 games. That was terrible. Probably the worst loss.
Lost to Baylor. See, I've been in a fog. You guys lost
it was probably the worst. So we're 5-2 now. It was probably the worst loss though. And our coach McGuire. This is year number 3, I believe. No, year number 2. Year number 2. I think it's definitely the worst loss that he's had for sure. In his second year, it's the worst loss. It just. We looked a lot like the Cowboys. They marched the ball up and down the field. We couldn't stop them. Defense just completely gave up. I don't know what it was, but it was a terrible, terrible game. I was expecting to beat the dog shit out of them.
Yeah.
But we did not. So we got a chance to get right this week. We were down in TCU, so we're playing in Fort Worth. But they got a chance to get bowl eligible this week, win game number 6. So we'll see, man. Hopefully they can get this shit done.
Well, let me ask you one quick question, and we'll wrap it up.
Yeah,
I asked this on Monday. College football now with a 12-team playoff. NFL. I mean, could you see college football kind of taking over as the number one of the two? You see the excitement, you see it. Now you got all these teams that are still in the hunt, right? And crazy game with Texas and Georgia, and then you got Alabama loses to Tennessee.
Hold on, Texas fans. Had to get that in right quick.
I get it, but I mean, the college football has been as exciting as I can remember, because at this point it's like, all right, it's the same 4 teams. Who's going to be in? Maybe they'll get a 5th one in. But it's wide open. I mean, Army, Navy, one of them getting in there. It's been pretty exciting for college football. It's been a great year.
No, it's been really great. I mean, I think college football is on the right track because they're doing what they're doing. Sorry about that, Cuts. I'm sorry. You already know how I feel about them. I think they're on the right track with how they've expanded this playoffs and stuff. And an interesting story though, the quarterback from Army. When I lived there in Lubbock, for several years, I lived in a small town. That's where I actually graduated high school from, was a little small town called Abernathy, Texas. And I know the quarterback for Army, name's Bryson Daly. And he's a stud quarterback. They run a way different type of offense right there. He doesn't have very many yards passing, but he's almost up to, I think, close to 1,000 yards. He's over 700 yards rushing on the year, has like 14 rushing touchdowns. I think he's got like 500 yards passing or something like that. But Abernathy, Texas, Bryson Daly, quarterback of the Army. And my kids, actually, it was my daughter that went to high school, or went to not high school, but went to junior high with him. So when he was younger, so I mean, I know Bryson Daly. His dad was the football coach there for many years. Know that whole family, good family, interesting and exciting story to watch them, be undefeated this year and be up ranked in the top 25 and watch him play like he's playing. He got actually AP player of the week this last week. He had 4 touchdowns on the ground and 1 through the air. So
yeah, I think it's cool when you get, like, you see kids from where you grew up, make it, like, you probably know Restrepo from Miami, the wide receiver.
Yeah.
I pray the Cowboys would draft him. He's from the town that I grew up in. So he's like one of the first, one of those guys. So it's always cool when you see, it's like, man, from our high school.
Yeah.
From our town,
yeah. You want to root them on for sure.
And you even, if you've seen them there, it makes it even cooler. So it's a lot of, it's awesome. Maybe because my Cowboys are letting me down, the Canes are doing good, and I know a lot of people are giving me shit on the Canes. I'm going to ride this wave. I know they're playing with fire. Their defense is like the Cowboys. They got to get better. I'm not blind to it. I think they got enough talent. They just got to continue doing what they do. And Cam Ward has been amazing. And if he's got to carry it to the end, then hopefully by playoff time they'll have it figured out, or the opportunity to go in there. But you haters ain't going to bring me down on my Canes. And the thing I'd say about the Canes is Michael Irvin, I don't know if you've seen his videos with the Canes. Absolutely love it. I wish we had that on our sidelines. Yeah. And I know people make jokes about it, but he impacts those kids in such a positive way. And Gogan and I were laughing about it. And he said the thing about Michael Irvin, he's genuine. He is real as fuck. And what you see, he means with his heart. And he loves that university, and he loves building up those kids and things like that. And he's proud of that university. And I don't ever think there's anything wrong with it. So I love it. But Miami's kind of taking over the culture, man. People are doing the celebrations, doing this. So college football is always better. I don't give a shit what anyone says. Well, Miami Hurricanes are a top team because they just nationally, they impact everything in a positive way. So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that. What else you got? That's it? You doing anything for the weekend? Or you
no, man, just watching some college football and just watch some college football and have a good time, man. I mean, enjoy my weekend. Like I told you in the before we jumped on the show, starting to feel like I'm coming down with a little something. Starting to feel a little sick, man. And that always sucks if you get sick and you're sick on the weekend. I hate being sick on the weekend because, like, why can't I get sick in the middle of the week? Tuesday, Wednesday, so I can miss the middle of the work week and then just show up on Friday and then the weekend's here. But being sick on the weekend is never no fun, man. So hopefully that's not going on. I'm going to the doctor tomorrow. So, for a physical, get myself checked out, my yearly annual physical, make sure I'm healthy, make sure I'm good, make sure my blood pressure isn't gone too high because of what the Dallas Cowboys have done to me.
At least you're doing it before Sunday. That's good.
But I'm doing it before Sunday. So maybe I just tell my doc, say, hey, man, I'm not feeling too good, man. Do you think you can hook me up with some penicillin or something, some preventative medicine so I don't get sick? But, no, man, I'm just going to enjoy the weekend, watch some college football, and hopefully watch the Cowboys win Sunday night.
Yeah, I tell them that you're congested, get you a Z-Pack, and that'll definitely help you out. But I got sick on Friday, and I'm just getting over it today. So I am praying for you to make sure that you beat it before it gets there, because it does suck. The whole weekend is like a fog, ruins everything. So, but Cowboys Nation, we appreciate it. Make sure you hit that subscribe, like, share. Your boy's going to be down in Miami. I may be checking in with you guys, so stay tuned to show you how we live in Miami. We're going to get to that lifestyle video, so it'll be a lot of fun. But guys, don't give up on the Cowboys, man. I know they're testing us every way possible, and they're trying to put some hard times on this fan base. But we're going to get it. We're not giving up. Kelly gives them the tough love, which I love. And they lose, Kelly lets them know, and the whole world's there to see it. And then I bring them back up. I try and bring them back up by the next week. So we got this thing working. We got the mojo working. We're going to get it right. Handle that business against the 49ers. You guys have a great weekend. Enjoy college football, and then enjoy the NFL. We'll see you. Take care.
Give me somebody that's hungry. Give me somebody that's hungry.